Tuesday on
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. First, can I have a roll call? If you can find everybody.
John.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
Jeff.
Here.
Brian.
Here.
Yeah, everybody's here. Nice. First up on the agenda, August 11th and 25th meetings. Take a look at those agendas. Questions, anything anybody wants to bring up? Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're good.
Well, how much as we get out. So do we really think we'll be awarding the Highway 20 project by the
We're having,
by the second meeting?
because we'll have the letting that week.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So
Yeah,
it comes together quick.
That's really great.
Nice. It's great.
There'll definitely be more. We could have a year or two, depending on what happens tonight.
Shovel in the ground in September and going on that thing. Very good.
All good? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go ahead and move on to department head discussion. And I'll start from my right. Dean.
Sure, your other right. Start with the big bang.
Oh,
First of all, I want to start off with, I think, something Josh had presented to y'all. Conversation that was had at the pre-construction meeting for the CAP cores. And Ben, you can chime in on this anytime too. There's a misunderstanding, but one of the concerns was with when the contractor starting the project is going to be in around the 1st of November. Macocata Valley typically shuts down any polls that they do, any actions with underground the 1st of December. And that's weather pending, but 1st of December for sure, that is a shutdown stand. So with that being said, and the possible startup, depending on what the spring is like, that could delay the project without having power to the site. With that, and it was actually a recommendation that I made originally when we met with Macocata Valley out there to avoid all conflicts and run the power as far to Cap Drive as they possibly could, and then come back in on the access road. That would avoid, any conflicts with the other utilities, the sewer, the water that's going over to the site, the force main, and whatever it may be. Opens that area up just for that. And it kind of cleans up the area a little bit. So with that, they gave us a cost estimate without having details on where property lines are and the actual lineal footage. The cost estimate came in right shy of $40,000 additional dollars on top of the original $24,000. So that inflates that cost to nearly $60,000. With that, in the first 3 years, the city will recoup $2,500 back on a 3 cents refund on their usage of energy. If within the first 10 years, a developer would establish a building site out there and another user jumps on that line, the city will also be refunded then an additional $17,000 on top of that. So, I mean, there would be some cost reimbursements, potential for some cost reimbursements there of $17,000, which would, bring the cost down to basically where we're starting right to 40 at 30 to 40,000. So entirely up to council how they decide we want to go with this. It could possibly be a change order, like I say, that near 60,000, depending on when a developer may come in there and build a building. We could recoup some of that cost. But like I say, it would clean that area up a little bit. It would take away any concerns of that detention pond that it's going across the berm. The power will be with any, concerns of that breaching and taking the power out of anything of that site. So that would eliminate that as well. So again, it's whatever we decide on that. It's not necessarily a must do change order, but It's something we can definitely think about, and I think it would, be a huge benefit, in the future. Now, in addition to that cost, there also would be trenching. I did get a price from a contractor for the trenching portion of it. That'd be an addition. So, something to think about.
And your feeling is this is a better way to run this line from now till,
So this is truly was my gut instinct from the original. When we met out there before the project was even let, I asked Maquoketa Valley to run it all the way to Cap Drive. They said at the time they wouldn't do it because there's not another user on the line, so therefore they refused to do it.
gotcha.
Now, for some reason, at the pre-construction meeting, it was considering the fact that there's possible need for power on the site during their shutdown of the winter months. So
What's expected life cycle of a new lift station? Just how long is this gonna last before we'd have to replace
I
it?
mean, quite honestly, it depends on the deterioration of basically the manholes. The concrete's gonna be the biggest thing as far as deterioration on that. And the build out of it, basically, depending on how many users are on it, obviously the more users, the more it's gonna get used.
The more users, it's, that cost is then,
Justified.
yeah,
Right. But in reality, that lift station out there shouldn't be no reason why, 20, 25 units. Shouldn't cover that.
yeah, because, I mean, I guess the direction I'm heading here, if we spend an extra $40,000 to get this right, we're always talking about what does the city look like in 20 years, 25 years? We build this out the right way. We've got hopefully some businesses coming in the next 10 or 15 years in that area. I mean, it just, if it eliminates problems, the added expense, if you look at it from a 25-year payback, it's, 40,000 is pretty steep jump up top, but you're going to use this thing for 25 years or 30 years. I'm inclined to say if this is the right way to do it, that's what probably should be done.
Correct. And then keep in mind also, considering the lifespan of that lift station is 20 to 25 years, doesn't necessarily mean that the power will exceed its lifespan at that time. So I mean,
No,
the
power is gonna be there.
The power is gonna be there,
Right.
Yeah. So whether it's
Right.
modification of the lift station, the future
Right.
one or whatever it may be, the power is still there. So, it's justified in that.
Yeah, I just am breaking it down that way rather than just like, well, it's $40,000 and there's nothing else there.
Mhm.
But there will be. And
Correct.
yeah.
So what, there's two lots back there?
There's two lots back there, and that
Two
depends
lots.
on whether it would ever be, plotted out any differently depending on
Right.
incoming businesses.
Right.
I mean, that's to be
There's
determined
two.
yet, but
And I guess if we ended up extending the industrial area further west, we probably want that power source there where it's at, right? To continue down Cap or.
yeah, I can't necessarily speak for that because I don't necessarily know going west, the boundaries for Maquoketa Valley.
Ah.
But yeah, I know that's a sticky situation out there. The boundaries get kind of funky out there because at the wastewater plant, it's aligned. But I don't know where the boundary divide is and how many users could be.
Oh, it probably is.
Are we sure,
It probably is these then.
are we certain those two are Coconut Valleys?
So we would never benefit from the one to the north. The only lot that we could benefit from as a refund in this initial cost would be the one adjacent to where the line would be ran. So the one to the east of that line there is the only lot that the city could receive a refund on as a cost share.
Seems like a pretty good gamble that those properties are gonna move in 10 years.
I agree.
So with that rebate, then it just doesn't make the infrastructure that big of a jump.
Right. I agree.
If you build it, they will come. We live in that area. Did you see on?
It's probably good.
All right,
If
so
that's truly the route we think we want to go, we can get some definite numbers. Ben, we can have your surveyors come out there.
Yeah, he planned on doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's just gonna drop some sinks so
Yeah.
that Maquoketa Valley could get that.
Yeah, it sounds
precisely
like-
dialed in.
it sounds like that's everyone on board with that. Okay, yep.
I would check with them and see if they could, like they were talking about, if it could keep going.
or if that boundary.
I did question them and we had a three-way call and Josh was included in that. I asked for future development to the north, if another user were to jump off to that, and he said no.
What is that, Pickett Alliance or is it Coconut Valleys?
So that I do not know.
I would just question to see if we could find out.
Yeah.
Who goes up there?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely question on that, but it won't benefit the cost any.
Right, no,
No, there'd be
Keep that in
incremental
mind.
on that one. That person came in, but
Yep. Yeah, and I can try to get a layout, of boundaries for the area
okay,
from them.
So I think they showed us one, because it was one of the warehouse buildings. It is split in half between Alliance and Coconut Valley. I think they showed us that map.
I don't recall,
Okay.
but it's a possibility.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that they said that whoever is I can't remember how they defined it now, how they determined who gets the bill on that. But I thought I remember seeing that map.
Yeah, like I say, I know it's real crazy out there because, the street lights, Cap Drive, Cap Quarter, Alliant. But this particular area, this particular site out there is not gonna facility, so it's.
wow,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah, it's a crazy boundary line, how it surrounds the city and how it goes throughout. But,
all right.
yeah, that's about all I have, I guess. I will share, Ben and I did meet on the possible tower site yesterday just to go over some things. Valuable meeting. We did tweak a few things. The entrance, for example, we pushed it further down the hill. I think we're gonna do that.
Yeah, I
Correct.
think
And we
so.
talked about it anyway,
Yep.
just for safety concerns because of the hill there by Penske and where the site entrance would be, semi coming out of there, truck with a trailer behind it or whatever it may be.
Visibility.
As we were standing out there, it was a pretty prime example of, the concerns because of the way that vehicles come over that, crest that hill. So
I did look at the stopping distance on that, compared that to a DOT table, and it'll be good down there a little closer at the bottom of the hill, put the driveway down there. By the DOT numbers, I think the speed limit could almost be 60 and we'd have appropriate sight and stopping distance. So at the 45 mile an hour that it currently is, we're plenty good with that distance.
with the extended site.
Yep,
or,
further down
extended.
the hill, push it down closer to the south
So I'm
side.
trying to visualize it down the hill, so it's further.
So it'd be further south.
Further south.
Further south.
Yeah, the Penske entrance would be at basically the crest of the hill. So
Oh, okay, okay.
be at the start of the site. In addition to that, we kind of talked and discussed, there is an area out there that's probably going to take some pretty significant amounts of fill out there. Throughout our conversation, we kind of talked about, maybe it's beneficial to break that project up into multiple years, with the tower being the first, and maybe the second or third, give the tower, get some of that congestion out of the way with all the tower materials and stuff like that. Then maybe put out the bid for the actual building and the well site. So that would also allow us to have a dump site for any additional fill or any additional spoils that might have drive on that
Sure.
project, a place to go with that and benefit from them spoils over there as a fill site. So, yeah, I think, some valuable ideas came off of that.
As long as it doesn't extend the entire length of the project to do it in those phases.
Well, I mean, what,
No, honestly, I don't think so, because the tower is gonna be a couple of years of construction. And I don't think that building, I would have thought it would have been faster, but that's, I guess, what people are experiencing in West Des Moines. A couple of towers we have going on there. Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't take that long, but then the building should be pretty easy. That should go up pretty quickly. So no, I think to what Dean was saying, that's what we talked about. If we tried to get everything kicked off at once, it would just be a lot of traffic down there with all the
Sure.
equipment and materials and supplies for the tower, plus all the concrete panels on the
Different
building.
contractors.
And
right?
yeah, it's gonna be different contractors. So we would put in a bunch of notes for, coordination, and it would just be, it would be a little bit more difficult for everybody down there.
I don't know why. I thought it would only take like a year.
Yeah.
Once we
Yeah.
started doing it, what the heck?
I mean, even if it is only a year,
Yeah, you'd still staging.
considering that those two, Cap Drive project and the tower site, both going out for bids the same year. The kickoff for both of them, that would still allow a lot of spoils from the Cap Drive site to be, utilized over there.
Yeah, it's good.
Benefit from that even, if it was a year span on the building site.
Good planning.
So, yeah. That's all I have.
Good. Stacy.
Big projects.
Yeah, a couple things. First, kind of a request for money, sort of.
Don't be so sure.
So, no, it is, but, okay, so, one of the things myself and my board have been talking about for a while now, couple years on and off, is the possibility of changing our platform from ActiveNet to another essentially brand that would do the same thing. So ActiveNet is our hub for everything. It's how we run the PCC, right? So memberships, reservations, everything goes through this program. The one thing, or I guess not the one thing, but one thing it lacks is improving throughout the lifespan of it. They haven't done a lot of upgrades. They haven't done a lot of different things to make, I guess, Park and Rec people's lives easier in terms of better ways of communication, in terms of updating their current system that they have to help make it better, where there's other places that have taken it, ran with it, and have done that. And so I did a lot of research and then decided to write the grant for the DRA to help fund it if we did decide to go with the switch. I did find out last week that we got 10,000 for the grant. The
She started
total,
with the good news.
the total,
Right, you can tell she's
correct.
hesitating.
The total cost is going to be around the 20 to 25,000 range, and so essentially we got half. I did put money in capital improvement I had two projects allocated, one of which was the entrance downstairs, one of which was a sidewalk to Peosta Elementary. For what I budgeted, I still have plenty of room within that capital, so I'm not asking for more money, is why I said kind of asking for money. But before I take the leap, I just wanted to make sure we were on board, or you guys were on board with spending that monies there before I go down.
So you're ratifying for both those projects and this?
Correct.
So
Correct.
Stacy, is this like a one-time purchase of a system, or is there
Yes.
an usually the software systems have an operating cost or a
Correct. So,
subscription thing
so
that
one
goes
of
with it?
one of the things with Active, and I could go on and on and on. So if you have questions afterwards, please let me know. But one of the things with ActiveNet is, yes, there's fees that we pay on every transaction. So everything we do through ActiveNet, there is a fee that comes out of it. And then if they pay a credit card, then there's even a bigger fee that comes out of it, right? And so will this program have it? Yes. But
Similar.
it'll be, well, ironically, it will be cheaper. So I do actually believe this $13,000 we will recoup within a year or two,
Okay.
honestly. And it actually gives us the ability to do more. And so the thought moving forward is that there is stuff that City Hall does now that we would remove from them. Shaundi takes like banquet room invoices and puts them in Simple City, the software that you guys use for accounting. It would all be done through this program now. The reason we didn't do it with ActiveNet is purely the percent of the revenue that comes out of it. But it no longer, so we're looking at doing Civic Plus is the name of the company. What they do is a flat annual rate versus what ActiveNet does, which is per transaction. So essentially we have the ability to do tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands more in revenue within Civic Plus and still not get to the point of the expenses we have within
Okay,
ActiveNet.
so it's lower cost of ownership
Correct.
of the software that they're continuing to develop.
Correct. Developed by people in our field. Like, I think that's the coolest part, is that the conversations I've had with them are people that have worked in the field who have gone through the transition from ActiveNet to Civic Plus, who have done all the things that honestly terrify me. Like, this switch is not going to be a fun switch, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run. But again, before I, like I said, go through this, whatever, I need to, there's a lot of things that need to go right in order for me to move forward, but this is one of the steps. So
It's all internet based.
all cloud-based. Yep.
So it makes sense to me.
I mean, if you got money there, it makes sense.
Dean,
Yes, sir.
did you know she said probably recoup it back in a year or year and a half?
She did better than me.
Here's like, and if somebody comes to town.
Just teasing, just tease.
Oh, okay.
That sounds like pretty easy, yes.
Okay.
That's all there, so.
Then I'm gonna keep on going. Pavilion, we're coming along. Obviously, there's some kinks that you guys are very well aware of that we don't have answers for yet. But I did kind of want to bring one thing. There's been some complaints with the lighting, right now. And so, yeah, so I think the reality is we knew we weren't done, right? Like as the electricians hook up the lighting, as they whatever, we're learning, as are the neighbors, as are whatever. And so there's some things we've had to do differently, lights that we've had to dim. We need to figure out, it'll be in our next park board decision, but things we need to figure out as far as, how much light do we want at night? How much, what is for safety? But I guess more than anything for me telling you is that the same thing that I've expressed to people is that it's a work in progress and we're gonna figure it out. We just need time to do so.
Is there a reason we have the lights that are along Pack Springs? Like they go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, like they're moving, flickering, well, they're like if you had lights on your house and we're doing them.
Well, they're
No.
like motion.
In motion.
Yeah, in motion.
Where's this?
On the
I saw it too, yeah.
east side of the
In
pavilion.
motion, like.
Yeah, like
Like-
when I go by in the morning, it's like,
Yeah,
like
like an
1, 2,
airport
3,
runway.
1, 2, 3.
So they see your motion and they flick on and.
No.
Okay.
It's like
So-
if you had your lights on your house and turned it on,
Oh,
like if you do that special lighting around your house.
not really special.
So what,
I didn't know that we needed.
yeah, so what I do know with the lighting is there's multiple exterior lights, right? Like there's the ones that come through the clear material, that were supposed to be like a glow, right? And I think on the east side, they do glow pretty well. On the south side, it's like a spotlight for those homes in their defense. So one of the
Yeah,
things
we
we
need
need
to
to
tweak that.
and then there's the soffit lights, or I'm not sure what they're called, underneath, like the main structure that are more for when the events are there. So they have light. And then there's like a stronger LED light that's around the perimeter for sure on the east side. I'm not sure if they're on the west side
I
as
think it's
well.
like underneath, under the soffit.
Yeah,
Can lights.
they're can
Can
lights.
lights.
It's not to our attention that they were flickering, but nobody said that.
No, they're
doing what changes?
It's on purpose. It's on
So it's-
purpose.
Needs to be changed, so.
So it's not. So he is, so that third set of lights, so that's the third exterior light, he can't actually figure out why it's doing it. So initially, which is why I was asking, it was boom, 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 because that's what it was initially doing. They were like, and they turned
Yeah,
off
because
the
it was
fuse.
doing something different the other day, but
Yes.
this morning when I went by, it was like
So
1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
he,
3.
yeah, he is working with the companies that
Built yet, so.
they bought the lights through to figure it out, because he's trying to figure it out. It is not going to do that. There's actually 2 interior that are doing the same thing
Okay,
that they have to figure out. So he is still working on it.
Okay.
In terms of, I didn't talk to him recently to see whether or not he fixed it. I know Monday he was working on that, so it makes sense that it changed from something else.
yes.
But
He
it does
fixed
sound
whatever
like
it was
it's not
doing.
fixed.
And it's not what it's supposed to be doing, so
Yeah.
it'll get there.
So, did you have something you look like here? No, okay. The other thing we were kind of talking about was internet to the site, and whether we do it now or whether we do it later is our $1 million question. I was kind of talking to Dean about it earlier today. Yesterday, the days are kind of going together. And kind of get your thoughts on it. Like, we don't plan on renting it out until April. So we're technically not using it. I did talk to Dave Hirsch, who is going to install our camera system within he goes on vacation next week. So I think the week that follows, he's going to install the camera system. In my head, to do the camera system, we needed internet. As I talked to him more today, we wouldn't technically. The only like pro of having internet with the camera system is the ability for us to view from our phones. But if all we
Yeah.
care about is security, we could theoretically install the cameras. If something was, we would have to just go on site to view the monitors to see what had occurred, and then save that monthly cost.
You could do that too, yeah.
Save the monthly
until
cost until we start renting.
Correct. So I will say though, before I say we should for sure go that way, the other issue that we're working, well, another issue that we're working on with the pavilion is access control. So the ability to obviously enter, as we talked about in the park board meeting 100 times, with the pin for people, whatever. It's been nothing short of a dumpster fire, to try to figure it out. And so, it's spec'd, it wasn't spec'd, it was spec'd, it wasn't spec'd, contractors did it, whatever. So I think what happened was hardware was technically spec'd, but Walsh door, I don't know, the whole thing is whatever. But anyway, we didn't have a company who was doing the access control. So they brought someone else in, who was familiar with the hardware that was spec'd within the system. And so we don't know for sure how we're going to move forward. So right now, I believe the hardware that was spec'd, partially spec'd, we'll call it, is Bluetooth enabled, which means that we wouldn't need internet. If we go with that system, we should be good. The person that came out today is going to do a deeper dive to see what that entails. And if it's something that's going to benefit us. The whole point of the system that we had said was for the ability for us to be able to control access anywhere. So if you rent it on Saturday and you rent it on Sunday, I can give you a pin, I can give you a pin, I can control it from here. If for some reason you forgot your pin and they call the front desk, we could legitimately open it from my phone, right? Like that was the whole point of not having to worry about physical keys and not having to worry about all the stuff. What we're unaware of right now is if Bluetooth allows us that capability, like everything, it doesn't make sense that it would, because it's Bluetooth. And so anyway, so it's possible that to do it, we will need internet access, so it might speed up our process, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But at this point, if you guys are good at I think we still talk to Macokota Valley and set up let's get it close to being set up. I just don't know when we turn that switch.
Is there like a time frame for when we do decide to make the switch? Is it gonna be, we'll get you in 3 months, or would it be pretty quick that they can get out and
or
for the
internet access? That's what I'm saying. So
Service.
Yeah.
I don't even
I
know
don't think it would be that far out, but
they're at. I think it's I don't know what they have done and what they haven't done. I think we still move forward with at least talking with them.
yeah, I mean, the conduit is all ran, so it'd be just a matter of them pulling the wire, which, I mean, you buy a house today, in reality, by the end of the week, they would have your internet, so.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that long of a prolonged process.
I would be curious if they ran, I don't know, do they run it over fiber?
Did they run it over fiber?
Yeah, is that how they run it, is over fiber?
Yes.
So then I would be curious as to where their fiber, because they may have to come from.
They'd be coming
way
from, they'd be coming from Redmond.
They're, okay, so they have.
They're right across the street. Yeah, we did. So we did that already, kind of. They're doing all of that for free to get it to the site was the whole agreement that we got with them. So we have that part done. It's just the physical building itself. But that's kind of the plan of action. We'll meet with them, kind of talk about steps, but try to hold off as long as possible.
Sure.
Pay
Yeah.
monthly.
We're gonna have it out there eventually, so I guess you guys make the decision based on where we're going with security and stuff.
What the benefits are for you to have it earlier rather than later.
I'm curious for the three of you or whoever was at the meeting with the architect and the builder, what was their reaction to the aesthetic design challenges that we presented them, and what's their timeline to respond?
I mean, the response was the general contractor is working on trying to get a quote or options of a material
Something different.
to place over top of, to maybe shadow that a little bit, or, cover the, dim the visibility of it, I guess, the attic. We haven't necessarily got a hard quote on nothing yet, or what options are available.
No, I just didn't know if they gave us a time frame for when they'd return options.
No.
He did not. So I know that there's been there's frustration all around. I think everyone knows that. But there's additional frustration, I think, from interior, no, I think all of us. I mean, whether it's us, the general contractor, architect, I think we all know that something needs to be done. Everyone's on the same page. But to give us solutions, like architect I think he brought a solution maybe, but general contractor has been the one actually trying to solve the problem. When I talked to him today, he said he was going to try to push Mike a little harder to say, hey, we need to come up with something, some type of solution, because we haven't done it yet. So I don't know that we have like a strict timeline
Yeah, it's
other
like,
than.
we just
don't.
need whatever it turns out to be, avoid it being a Band-Aid on a bad design.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts with the design,
Yeah.
so I hope the architect's got his skin in the game.
Well, so I mean, the only good part there is he 100% agreed. Like he
Okay.
absolutely does not like it either, which
Did he
is good.
apologize that he recommended that?
I mean, his response was just, I didn't realize it was going to be clear. He thought from day one that it was going to be the same as us, that it was going to be a more, like whether it's shadowed or opaque
What he showed.
material than what it was. And so, so there's that. But yeah, I don't know that we have a good, like, again, we all know something has to be done. It's just we haven't got, Jimmy has been trying to come up with calling any company he can think of to get us quotes on to do something. I did request when we met and talked about it that whatever we come up with, we don't do it all immediately, that we do a test portion,
Yeah,
like a
see if we
very
like it.
test portion, because I'm terrified. It's a
Yep.
big commitment and a big focal point for us to be like,
Mhm.
done. So it's going to be a process. It's the best answer I have.
Okay.
I would love to say August 15th. but I
Yeah, no,
can't.
we-
I just can't.
Yes.
Or whatever the date is.
Anything else, Cece? All right.
Lacey, I got something for you. So a couple weeks ago, I was at the rec center. A kid unfortunately fell and broke his arm. Me and another woman were kind of helping the situation along. And do we have really, I know we have a form they got to fill out if something happens, but is the people at the front desk trained on how to deal with that type of situation? And the reason I ask, the kid was great. The kid was great. The kid did everything we asked him to do and everything like that. He wasn't the one taking lead. So I fear that if I wasn't there, if this other woman wasn't there,
Who would have?
Wasn't
What
taking
would happen?
charge.
So we do require all PCC people to be CPR certified, first aid certified, would be the best answer I have in terms of, I mean, I think until it happens, I don't know, anyone knows how they're going to react. I'm not saying we couldn't do a better job. I mean, obviously we have forms that need to be filled out. There's that portion of it, but then, there's the first response.
I think that if we wouldn't have been there, I don't know, because the kid was on the phone with his mother and his brother. The woman that was there said, grab the phone from him, said, call her.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And the kid's arm was going in 3 different directions. And I'm like,
No,
we're not waiting for you to get here, right?
Yeah.
This kid's in pain.
So was the ambulance called?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just, you know what I mean? I don't know if the kid was a kid, right? I don't know if you'd had the gumption to say, no,
Yeah, you
mom,
wouldn't.
no, mom, we're not.
No, you don't.
And I don't know if there's a way that we can ever get that way.
Yeah.
Just food for thought.
No, it's
So-
good
so when
food
you-
for thought.
When you say we require the CPR and first aid, do we
Yeah.
provide that?
Yes. Yes. We do.
And how often does that training happen?
I mean, so we just had one 2 weeks ago, but I would have to go through. So I don't keep that stuff for the front desk staff. I'm not going to tell you. I do. Ty's very much over the front desk and all things front desk. So I'd have to see if he has like who was up to date and who isn't. I don't know that information. But as people become not up to date is when we do the training. So
Mhm.
that's my best answer I have for you. But I will definitely find out.
And some people just react differently.
But this is an opportunity to
Yeah.
review the
Absolutely.
procedure.
Absolutely.
And what is happening, what happens when we've got an 18-year-old kid sitting at the front desk and nobody else is here,
Yeah.
like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
It's different
You're
when you have
absolutely
a
right.
guy or a supervisor around.
Yeah.
It's off hours when
And
it's
we
one
have some-
person and it's whoever it is.
And he may have reacted differently because us two were just kind of took charge.
Yeah.
We just,
Yeah.
I know. It's
You
Let
did?
you- let you-
But I mean, the kid was hurt. We'll deal with it.
Yeah. I know I must have been the second phone call then, because like my first question was, did you call 911? Like, are they on their way?
Supervisor.
And
Yeah, and I just wonder if that isn't just the first thing, just
Yeah.
if there's an accident, don't make them try and judge whether it's bad enough or not.
Yeah.
Just call.
Oh, and then we usually do. I mean, it's no different than we have the.
It's just my house, they're the first on scene.
Right, yeah, for sure, yeah.
I mean, we've said that and not necessarily in cases of someone gets injured, but even in cases of someone I just don't feel right. Like I just don't feel comfortable in the situation that's had, like, we have do not hesitate, sorry, call them. Because that's why they're here, you know, if that little hoop goes up, it's worth, to me, it's worth with calling, it's not worth risking, whatever. But yeah, I mean, we could absolutely do more, do better, have more conversations to make sure that people are aware of that. Make the call.
Chief,
I'll try to keep it short and sweet.
that's good for money?
Right? No. Well, we'll see. Reg,
We'll see.
we'll talk reg. Reg went well with no issues within the city. Denise, Robin, how did everything go out in Centralia for the most part, can I ask?
One. Was it
Good.
one or?
I mean, for us in town, it was very limited, so
Right.
you guys saw the wrath of it. I did go out there and help with some things out there a little bit, not much. I mean, basically stayed in town and took care of it, but we had very little in town. So everything went well, as long as everything went well for you guys. Good. School begins August 24th. For the first day of school, we'll be monitoring the area for that, just like always. We'll be doing our daily check-ins at the schools, you know, or just what we normally do. Peosta Day is, that's something I didn't know if you were going to bring up or not. August 29th, it will not be run this year, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it's just going to be just the parade, and that's going to be on Saturday, 29th at 3:30 p.m. Line up at 2:30 off of Cap Drive. Yep. We will be, probably during the council meeting next week, I'll ask for you guys' permission to block the streets like we always do every year. You guys want to do a roll call for that, but kind of have to do it to make everybody safe. I like to barricade every street entrance that's along that parade route, and we'll have our guys out that day to help with that too. The other thing I have is a good thing, I guess, is we ordered a new 26 Chevy Silverado today, or didn't order it. We got it basically purchased today. Josh signed the paperwork on it, and the build will be starting already next week. And we'll have it hopefully by September 1st. So that'll be replacing my truck. So other than that, that's about all I got for you.
I can't remember, we trading in that truck or we?
Well, not a trade in. What I'm going
We'll
to
sell it.
we're going to sell it. Yeah, there's an auction that will buy another department from,
Yep.
I hear Missouri or whatever, will buy it for even more money than what you would get on a trade. That's where
Nice.
I'm going. I'm going to
Yeah,
try
because it's outfitted.
Because it's outfitted, yeah. For the most part, we're taking our main equipment out that we need for the new build, but they're gonna get everything else, so. Yep. Perfect.
Cool.
I just want to make mention, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What Mike said about school starting. I did call the striping contractor for the streets and told him to make sure that we're on his schedule for mainly the school areas as far as crossing walks, stop blocks, any center line dividers, you know, between Birds Road here, Cox Springs, start at Cox Springs, you know, and basically down to Ace Hardware. So
What are they
and then
doing that?
crosswalks on Peosta Street. He did not commit to a date. He said there is a possibility it could be tomorrow, depending on, he's got a job interview, depending on how that goes. But
Before school.
Other than that, it's definitely, I told him it had to be done before school started.
Good. Perfect.
How often do we do that? Like restriping of the safety?
So it all depends on how it wears, but like the school zone areas, I typically try to do them every year,
Okay.
just to make sure that they're all freshened up and everybody's aware. So, good.
Are they gonna be doing those crosswalks up on Sundown?
Yep, we'll have them done as well.
Okay.
Any crosswalks areas. Good.
Alrighty. Next up, discussion on Cap Drive and Highway 20 corridor. This is just to discuss and kind of finalize that we are gonna move forward as far as. Correct? Correct. Yeah. Get these jobs going or moving forward. I guess we'll start with Cap Drive. Think there was any issue with anyone not moving forward with Cap Drive, which then Ben will start here. What's the kind of, give us the schedule so we're all.
Yeah, so spring construction start, that's our intent. Dean and I spoke on this. I know one thing that was floated I can't remember if it was floated to council, I might have brought it up. I know we were talking about it with Maggie. If we use SRF as part of the funding on this, since there's the sewer and water utilities as part of the cap drive project, could we use the SRF money, which is at a little bit of a better interest rate, to pay for the surfacing above those utilities? And looking at it again, I don't think that's a good idea. It's going to delay things.
You'd have to coordinate those pieces of the project, right?
And honestly, that wouldn't be too bad, but it would, the biggest thing, it would kick the project out a year because we would start the process in September. That's when the first paperwork gets filed with the DNR, with the SRF. And it's anywhere from 12 to 15 months after you file that paperwork from when everything is good to go. They do their environmental clearances, everything is done, and you can actually get started for bid. So that would put cap drive out to 2028 for a construction start, which maybe that isn't a huge deal, but honestly, it's probably just not worth it for the additional paperwork requirements, for Davis Bacon wage rates, other funding requirements. So for the nominal amount of financing difference, it's probably just not a big deal. I did talk with Maggie. I told her that is kind of the way we were leaning. And I was going to bring it up with council here. And all of her numbers are not using SRF. So she was using whatever kind of go bonds or municipal bonds. She was not considering anything with our SRF. So this isn't going to change any of those dollars. And she did say that there's still some creative things that she can do as far as splitting out what other pots of money you can draw from. So.
Yeah, to offset the size of the loan. I think she's got these pegged at right, like 4% is what's in the debt model, which is not bad. I know SRF's 2.75 or 2.25.
Right.
So yeah, you start getting into pennies if it's a logistical nightmare.
Right.
Well, in addition,
Time thing.
Ben was saying about that too, like we talked, the surface area that would be paid for is basically going to be burned up, but the project being burned up, divided into 2 years, utilities 1 year and the pavement the next year. Like Ben explained to me, any temporary surfacing that would have to be done for the utility work, that our SRF money is going to be spent on that. So basically, it's not going to cover the actual product, any of the finished product, final product anyway. So,
Yeah, that sounds kind of dicey.
right, I would agree. I mean, Ben's probably right that it's probably not a huge benefit.
So just keep moving forward as previously discussed.
I guess my only thing, and this applies to both of the different project cost models, it popped into my mind when I was looking at the presentation that Maggie did with us. And I'm thinking about resident tax impact, and we kind of present it as per thousand taxable value and $100,000 property. I think we should look at what our average home property cost is in Peosta, probably closer to 300,000.
Oh,
So when we do present it to the public and stuff, we're relating it in terms of what an average property here is. It was just a thought, because those numbers are, sizable. Yeah, they get real fast. So it was just a thought in presentation.
We can do kind of a calculator thing like we did.
Exactly.
With the water.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we can recycle.
Visual / tool together to help visualize that and help us in calculating that when it comes.
Then the Highway 20 corridor project. And again, I know we've talked to the DOT. We'll have our delegation going down on Tuesday next week to meet with all the commissioners of the state of Iowa. Talking about this project, future Peosta, what that looks like and why we feel there's importance in getting these projects done. In our discussion with our local DOT team, the discussion of whether a 50% commitment from the city versus a 60% commitment from the city versus a 55 versus a 5 really didn't make a lot of difference. Like if we went in at, I know, Brian, you were mentioning, hey, do we go in at 60?
Go in hot to get their
You
attention.
know, because technically it's not technically supposed to be about the money. It's supposed to be about what job needs it the most.
Safety aspect.
So that's where that's the criteria they're looking at. Unless you're gonna come in at 100%. If you come in at 100%, they'll do top of the list. You're in. You're in. So I guess my recommendation at this time is that we do just, and I don't know if next week is, I don't think that's when we'll use any numbers that we're looking for 50% or we're giving 50%. But my recommendation at this point after that meeting was probably offering 50%. So just
After hearing that, that's where I'm coming.
Yeah, and it seems like we'll see how we score out. We get into the first 5-year plan and where does it sit in terms of priority? And then we can talk with them about how we change its priority.
Yeah.
And it may or may not be money, maybe other things.
So hopefully that meeting next week will be good. There are several other cities there, Marion, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City. So, but I think we know it's a pretty important project. The DOT team, Hector and his team here in Northeast Iowa, it's one of their top priorities. So they will also be, pitching, getting this in the schedule and, trying to position it as best they can. The one thing little kind of caveat he threw in kind of at the end of our meeting, I thought was interesting was, well, because we're going to be doing that bridge project over at East Dubuque. And so in about 10 years, that's going to be like a $300 million Iowa DOT project. That's going to be their share. So there's not going to be a lot of money going around after that.
Better get it done now.
Yeah. So
that's fine.
Yeah. So just to add another, little log to the fire to make it a little hotter. There's, maybe a 10-year window here to get this done before we fall back another, 10 years. Yeah. So I feel good about our position. I feel good. I think we've had really good meetings with the DOT guys. They all are very much in line with the same thing.
We're trying to do.
When we pitch it next week, it's the long term. Again, that 20 to 30 years, gas isn't going to stop growing tomorrow. So we don't need to just do for today. We need to look ahead and say where we're going to be at in 20 years. I don't think any of us can answer that question because of the growth in the last 20 years. So that's our pitch of why this was the choice we made out of their suggestion.
I think the slide deck you guys built looks great because it's very, I already told Josh, thank you. It looks great.
You guys.
We'll stop giving Russ any credit.
Yes, he credit.
But it's like.
I have seen.
Yeah, the final slide makes it real apparent that that's the only solution that solves all the issues that are raised in their study. And it's just a very strong visual, which I thought was great.
I thought you did a great job. So thanks again for that, Josh.
Just a reminder to council, it's like Maggie's model, again, assumed a start to the DOT thing in 10 years. And then there's like a 5-year overlap in between the debt offerings for Cap Drive and whatever. So if we're successful and it happens sooner, we're gonna have a longer overlap between those. That'll have an implication in the rate, but.
So with that, and Josh and I kind of, if you don't mind, Mayor.
Yep, you're
Mr. Mayor. Josh and I kind of talked about this too. The concern that I have is with the inflated cost as, years pass by.
Mm-hmm.
A concern that I have, and Shonda kind of brought this to our attention, is that he felt that the 16 million was a little bit weak. I also feel that the 16 million is a little weak. I mean, I think it might be beneficial to maybe use that 16 million as a 50% cost share. Maybe have Maggie run those numbers just to
so we know
where we're actually at in maybe a worser case scenario.
Yeah, like scenario planning.
But and there's also that possibility of, the meeting that we had, I felt the state was very responsive of, wanting to maybe increase their interest in that project there. So maybe pushing that date up even, maybe that 7 to 8 year range. So I don't know, that's just kind of the take that I took away from there. But the concern that I do have is that 16 million is a little bit weak. So with the 50% cost share, I honestly believe that we should be using that 16 million and see what Maggie can do for us
Because Chandra in the meeting threw out 54 million for the Swiss Valley interchange. But that's a full diamond.
This one's
There was a lot of
to that extent.
extra work that needed to be done.
Yeah, they moved the highway.
Yeah. So it just in perspective.
Funny face there. You're 54 mil.
So, but yeah, that was my comment too. What? Wait.
What?
So, but that's probably good to run numbers at a higher, just so we do know what we're putting out there. So.
Does it have to be a percentage? Could it be just a regular dollar amount?
You can do it. And what we'll do, Ben, is when we'll give it to the DOT team, Hector and Jesse and Russell, when they're going to do their business case that they put in. So we won't talk to the commissioners next week about that. So, but yeah, we could put it in at a 50% not to exceed.
So such an amount.
Yeah.
Well, we know that the 10 million, you should give us $8, $9, and $10 million models. Yeah. And we know that the $10 million model still works. So, maybe it's that for the first file, 50% not to exceed 10 million, and then we see where it lands.
Yeah. Thoughts, questions? Good. That court lip station discussion. We did that already, right? He brought that up. Thank you. Trails and pedestrian plan scope of work.
All right, so each of you received this scope of work from ECIA for an updated trails plan here in Peosta. So at a cost not to exceed $4,000, ECIA would work with the city to get us an inventory of existing facilities, a list of projects that we can do, a future network map of future trails that can go into the city, and a final summary and documentation. If this scope of work looks good to council, then we'll go ahead and work with ECIA, excuse me, and get started on this.
Josh, my only question is the document that's loaded in here still says sidewalks not included in the inventory, and we talked that it would be.
So we have verbally spoken with ECIA. I can't say the words tonight. Good word. I've spoken with the team, and everyone knows that we want this change. We want the sidewalk side.
I just don't want us to sign. I just don't want us to sign that version without.
Yes, I have not signed it yet. So we actually have a quarterly meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll get rolling on it then.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
4,000 is cheap for a long-term vision plan and ability to present it professionally. We've talked a lot at Parks about this, so.
I have one more thing to this that's kind of related. I didn't say it during my update, but the REAP grant we've been applying for the last X amount of years that we've been extremely successful with it. I think this year it's paying 50,000 towards the extension from along Pack Springs to get to Kelly Oaks. I did present in front of the Board of Supervisors on Monday, again, for the first step in that grant process for the next extension. And I did it for the end of Peosta Community Center Parkway along the pond and then connect to Adrena.
Nice.
So fully focusing on connectivity throughout the city. Tricia is in now the next phase because we got approval in the next phase of actually writing the extensive grant. So we are working on that right now. It's due next week. And then we wouldn't hear until I think it was like November.
Okay.
But just as we're still trying to get monies to keep going.
Keep getting it.
All right, the next up, review draft e-bike and scooter ordinance. I'll let you lead the discussion, chief.
Well, Josh is the one that built
All right.
this. And
Josh?
I mean, he did a great job, in my opinion, on building this. The only thing that we talked about today, and 72.64 operation prohibited in certain areas.
Yeah.
We have a list of the roads there. I think it probably in best interest to probably add Peosta Community Parkway down by the parks down here. They shouldn't be on the roadway on that. That's my humble opinion, just because traffic and it's just a smaller area, the parking down there, it'd be better for them on the sidewalks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Isn't there something later on though about being on the sidewalks?
Yeah.
You can't be on the sidewalks on the roads that are listed as?
Yeah, it's
I was-
there.
I have a note there.
I do too.
Or
Go ahead.
a sidewalk adjacent there too.
Right,
So you can't be on those roads at all, period.
correct.
Well,
Yeah.
I think, I don't agree with that.
That's how I read it.
Yeah.
So that was my question.
I was reading that last night. I didn't agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these kids, that's their bike to get to school.
Well, yeah, it's.
Right. I didn't see that portion of it. I just saw that
So it's.
Where's that?
at a speed of 10 miles per hour or less.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't see it.
Roadway of any of the following streets or upon any sidewalk adjacent there too. So
Yeah,
I think birds is a problem.
I think birds,
Because
yeah.
it's our only east-west. And it is how kids get to school. It's how most people traverse town.
And Cox
So, and
Springs.
then we're saying you can't have it either place, but then it says other places you could be on the road. Follow the rules. So they seem a little bit in conflict. Birds was the only one on that I was particularly concerned with, but when we say on the sidewalk or the trail adjacent there too, all of those eventually are gonna be how they're, sidewalks are how they get around safely. So I
Right.
want to debate
That made it sound like you can go out of your driveway onto your road if you don't live on one of those.
My
roads.
comment was, well, you're
Into your
basically only
driveway.
gonna use the device in your neighborhood.
Yeah,
And then is that
exactly.
what we intend?
I don't think that's.
I don't think that's
the
what we intend.
I didn't see the sidewalk portion of it. What I saw was, and what I was more focused on was the
Sure.
roadway.
You have
You
the
know, they
section
don't want
that's
them on the roads.
72.64, operation prohibited in certain areas,
Yes, that's
page
what I saw.
4 at the top. And it's A and B and,
So you just want to take sidewalks adjacent to out?
well, what's the chief thing? I mean, do we want to keep,
Yeah,
we're trying
no, I
to keep
think-
these off the sidewalks? We're keeping them under 10 miles an hour.
Correct. No, I
They're-
think they'd be
they're
fine on the
pedestrians.
sidewalk,
Yeah.
however, keep them under the 10 mile per hour range. I think that would, they still need to be,
Yeah.
like you said, for school operations,
Yeah.
totally understand.
I think-
I think that's a good,
I do think
yeah.
if you take out sidewalks there, it's more consistent because up above, it's giving them permission to operate, on a sidewalk or trail or on the roadway following the traffic. So we just take them off the roadway on those busy roads, but they could still get around.
Yeah.
That accomplishes what we want, I think.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. It's all the same thing.
Anything else on there that anybody?
The only thing about that, and I just
Go
can say
ahead.
this, is that I noticed the other day, the goofy, I'm gonna call them goofy, crossings on Peosta Street, how the
Mm.
the lowered.
Yeah, up north on it.
Yeah,
where they're-
because you're meant to, like by trackside, you're meant to go across the street,
Yeah.
over and across the street. Well, a lot of them are just kind of zipping, and for that, while they're crossing that road, they're just zipping to the, right there. So I mean,
Technically, that would
technically,
be
it's true.
not
Yes.
supposed to be on
Right.
Peosta Street. That's what the goal is, to try to keep them off those busy roads.
Right.
And they are on those. When we see them daily and we get complaints on them, not daily, but often from people.
So we'd have to address that.
Well, we wouldn't have a problem with them using a crosswalk.
No, they can use a crosswalk.
But what they're doing is they're not using the crosswalk.
Right, I know what you're saying.
They're zipping.
Keep in mind, a lot of this is gonna be education moving forward. I mean, when we see people doing them,
Yeah.
we will talk to them and say,
Yeah.
we have a new ordinance, you cannot do this moving forward, It's gonna be a lot of education trying to get it out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big change.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got added Peosta Community Parkway to the list of banned roads. Allow people to ride on sidewalks on these roads and maybe put a little more thought into the crosswalk situation. How we're gonna.
Well, I think the crosswalk, as long as we're just educating, and just do that little.
They can't do the diagonal.
As long as you're
Okay.
using crosswalk.
And again, you gotta be able to see it or get complaints of somebody that knows. The thing is also, you can put a speed of 10 miles per hour, but are they gonna go faster than 10? Yes, possibly. Again, it's education, trying to get them to go slower. We're not gonna sit there with radars trying to radar the kids. However, we can notice if kids are going faster than 10. I mean, we know if they are, and we've had that discussion, slow it down, especially when there's people on the sidewalks, like pedestrians walking. They just have to have the common courtesy to stop, pull over, or, go slower past them, make it safe.
I do a lot of walking. Most people
Most, I would say
are
most.
very courteous.
I agree.
Scaring the old man coming from,
Right.
Maybe if you get those earbuds.
Because about the kid.
I've been here too.
I
They
drove
can't
by
be
you.
looking at their phone and steering with one hand and not have their eyes ahead of them, so. A lot of stuff.
We put in a line about using crosswalks properly.
Yes, yes.
When traversing one of the disallowed roads, going from sidewalk to sidewalk, you know, you've got to use the established pedestrian crosswalks.
Josh, the other thing I saw in
Yeah.
there was 72.66 use of sidewalks and trails. It says for the letter D, no person shall operate the class 3 at a speed of 20 miles per hour. I think that should be lowered to 10 also. Just keep it 10 across the board for everything, my opinion.
Agree. So, or sidewalk.
Just keep everything at 10 or less. I think 20 is, that's too fast on the side.
Probably it's just axis, it's redundant because we already established
Right.
10 miles per
Yes.
hour.
So I think that, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything else on that? All right, good work on that, Josh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Next item, discussion obscene speech. This comes up, I think, at least at this table, probably saw the flags and whatnot, hanging from, one of the decks over here by the ball fields. We're not here to limit free speech, but we wanted to have a discussion about how do we, I don't want to say police, but encourage people not to maybe use such obscene items in public view, especially in an area where there are children.
So
Impression.
Mike and I have had this conversation since the spring, and you came back with the county attorney and said there's nothing we can do.
That's correct. You know, and
We checked it again.
Yeah,
yes,
We
we
changed
double
signs,
checked it
we checked it
again,
again.
and it all comes down to First Amendment rights, and you'd be infringing on people's First Amendment rights on that.
Even, and I'm asking,
Unfortunately,
even if it's a place where children will be.
correct. It's still, it's because
Protected
So there's nothing we
it's
can do.
protected speech.
Written.
That was my
That's
question.
correct.
I asked him about it.
The angles would be not allow banner signs of any size anywhere,
Right.
which is silly because there's lots of rational reasons for that kind of stuff. Our Parkview Estates does have homeowner rules that we dug out, City Hall dug out. And they expire like this fall. They'd have to be re-upped. And the only way homeowner association rules can get enforced is if the developer comes in and enforces them. It's not a
Right, it's the
civic.
covenant's not
So
homeowners
that's really not a
association, right?
direction to go anyway, and it wouldn't solve it for the whole city. I think we're kind of stuck without neighbor pressure of some sort.
Correct.
Could you just stop and ask politely?
The problem
Yeah.
is, I'm just, I was gonna say, somebody has to. For us to stop, yes, we can politely ask, however,
Neighbors.
they would feel probably that we're infringing on their rights because it is an anti-police, what ICE is essentially police. Me to go there, you get my point with
Don't
it.
wear a mask. Yeah.
I can politely ask them, however, it ain't gonna go very far, put it that way.
Just asking.
Yeah.
if you get a complaint, obviously you can go over and say, hey, letting you know, we
Correct.
received a complaint.
Correct.
Just wanted you to be aware.
Right.
Your neighbor,
Yeah,
not even your neighbor, just
these particular folks have been approached by a couple different neighbors and by people at the ball fields, you know, that are there with their kids and have gone up and talked to them, and it's not received at all. So they know their rights and they're evidently within them.
Yep.
And it stinks.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Don't think there's anything we can do.
I don't think we can write
You
it.
gotta be very careful with litigation on that kind of issue.
And by the way, when I just read that line, I was baffled at what we were talking about.
Maybe I said.
John's going to say something.
I was gonna say,
I said that.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
John, say it.
I was longer. Well earned.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Vicious animal ordinance update discussion. As we're all aware that we had a case where a dog was asked to be removed from the city. And part of that, there was a discussion brought up about leash laws or stronger ordinance keeping your animal from getting out of your yard, you know. I think that's what this discussion was kind of came from, that case.
I know the one thing I wanted to talk about that came with that is if there's a way, and I don't know that there is, if there's that initial bite or that initial issue, getting the neighbors
Yeah,
aware.
that's what I was.
Notification.
No, and I don't know, I mean,
So that's double-edged sword on that also. And I'm just,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, I think it's a good knowledge. However, when a neighbor hears this, they go to social media and I'm just saying it could get out there that I don't want to say it's going to, how do I say this?
flame.
Yes, inflame it severely or big time. And not saying that's a bad thing either, but it will inflame it, you know?
I was just thinking, that if I'm living next to a dog or a neighbor that has a dog that just bit someone, and I've got little kids, I sure as heck would want to know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's in front of
So,
everybody's right.
so going, moving forward, I guess, what I'm gonna ask of you guys, with this, I wasn't here on Tuesday, but, if the dog is deemed vicious and there's nothing in the code to determine the time frame or follow up, to get rid of the animal, what will happen, that stuff. I think that can be addressed in a updated version of the ordinance, if you guys are okay with that. Having a separate code for potential vicious and then vicious, so there's a potential vicious animal, and then we could do a code section for vicious animal. I think that could be
deemed and removed.
correct. And then what's the process to when it's deemed vicious, then what do you want for the process to move forward? We can work on that and bring it back to you on, if you guys are good with that.
Yep.
Okay.
I know there was a question brought up to a phone, whether we ban, any certain breeds.
So you can't do that. I was Supreme Court, already, let's just use hypothetically pit bulls, right? We'll just use that as an example.
Right.
You can't just ban a certain brand of dog or breed of dog anymore due to past practice. Now, what they do now and what cities have gone to is what we have is vicious animal.
Okay.
You can't just ban a certain breed.
Pit bull.
Correct.
Well, back to the notice.
So we're in the compliance on vicious animal.
Yeah,
So
back to the notice requirement. I mean, it's kind of a tiered ordinance. And it's like if the first offense is a significant bite or something, it might actually qualify.
well,
Under
according to the ordinance, the first bite is technically a vicious animal.
Right. So, so can we so we're saying notification that an animal has been deemed potentially vicious and it's going to a public hearing or something. Why would we not do that? We do that when people are buying properties, things around.
Well, normally when we do these potentially vicious, I send a letter saying, hey, your animal is potentially. However, the letter that I send out, their notice basically saying it's being deemed potentially vicious at this time.
And it's not three strikes on the ordinance.
What does make a potentially vicious?
What does?
Have to look at.
Like the code?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different criteria.
Okay.
It has to either bite somebody or another animal or a human.
Cause injury.
Or it has to cause, either cause an injury or a threat.
Yeah.
It also can, what else was there? There was something else.
Because you were just saying that a bite, it makes it a vicious animal.
Correct. Yes, a bite, or it can attack, just a certain attack can make it.
Yeah, I was just wondering what makes it a
vicious.
potential.
No different than like an assault, like if somebody were to come up to you and, not to technically put hands on you, but technically that's an assault also. Deemed the same way.
Talking about John again.
Yes. So.
Sorry, man.
There's criteria. Yes.
All right. So
public notification doesn't really fit.
That's up to you guys, however you want to do it. I just think we can, what's the base? Well, how broad do you want to go with it? You put it out to just the neighbors, you put it out blast them on Facebook, there's a whole.
I want to get into
this particular case,
again,
two of the three was somebody from another part of the street, not an immediate neighbor, walking and another dog.
Right.
So if you don't notify everybody, you really haven't done.
Right.
do you feel probably, and even in the case we just finished, most of the neighbors probably know the potential of a vicious animal?
I would know the potentials of my neighbor's dogs.
I was gonna say, I feel like I know most of the dogs.
I mean,
neighborhood.
the gentleman who did get bit was there working, you know, who returned. Yeah, he may or may not know. I think he must have known. They probably told him, don't worry, the dogs are in their kennels.
Yeah.
But, you know, and this, I mean, this case was a cul-de-sac. I would venture to guess most of the people living on there are very well aware about the dogs there.
Mhm.
And they have 3, right? Was that my?
3 big dogs.
And they breed dogs?
That's what it sounded like.
I mean, she made the statement about the neighbors having dogs from their dog.
Oh.
So I just.
This is not the first time this has happened. We've had
Yeah,
incidents before, so this is probably gonna happen again, and unfortunately, it's.
well, and
So
just
I think by cleaning up the ordinance, I
for
think.
clarity, I mean, we did get a phone call here at City Hall from somebody asking, do we ban a certain
No.
breed of dog?
Right.
The answer is no.
And the reason they were asking is because apparently they live in one of our apartment complexes and were bit by a dog from the apartment complex. They did not report
They
it
did not
to the
report it.
officials.
Yes.
They reported it to the to the owner. And so there's nothing the city
Yeah.
is obligated.
You gotta remove this stuff, you know,
Or, yeah,
to get something done.
Right.
so I mean, yeah, are we gonna have another incident? We already have. We just haven't had to report it to the city.
I guess I would say a couple of things. I think our ordinance worked. That's why we have it.
Yes.
And so some of these other things are like additional regulation, you know, leash law. I don't support that because there are a whole bunch of responsible owners out there and these are people's pets and we're holding the owners accountable for not controlling their animal and the ordinance worked. So I guess that'd be my thought on that.
They brought up like fences, not everybody can have fences.
Should have done that before.
Bingo. I mean,
They could have done that after the first incident. They
No, no, I'm saying to change our rules to.
Yeah, it's just, we can
We
rule
were
with
just
the
saying,
death.
everybody's got a
Jump
terrible,
a fence
say,
too. It's
say an electric fence isn't good enough that you have to dig up your. You know, we can't as a
We
city.
don't want to police.
and
no,
say,
we're not, I would suggest that also. We
No,
don't want
we
to
don't.
police all that.
No.
Let people
Too
live.
many rules. Let people live and take responsibility for their.
What about limiting the amount of animals?
Do we already limit the amount of animals?
No, we,
No go.
there was a.
Correct. I mean, there's certain.
It was presented that
Yeah.
we limit the number of animals or dogs that you can own.
They had to be permitted.
You all said no.
License they had.
So
I think that's the one thing I'd like to bring up too.
That was the other thing that.
I'd like to bring up the licensing thing. The past city administrator did not want to have licensing anymore.
Right.
I still think there's not a necessarily need, but an optional want for the citizens that want to have these. And I think it'd be a great idea to have it because one, in my humble opinion, we can go on the website and say, yep, that's their dog. We can bring it right to their house instead of having to bring it to the Humane Society and having that extra charge.
Allow it as a service.
Yeah, just allow it as a service. It could be an optional service, my opinion.
I like that better than.
If I don't want to be the police going to their house, knocking on doors saying, you owe $20. We ask for, and that's going.
I think if you sell it as a service.
Correct. It's just a service. And I think that should be brought back.
I can't remember if it was Robin or a different citizen, though. Somebody raised the issue that when we don't do the licensing, we don't get confirmation of the rabies vaccine.
Right.
So if it's offered optional, we still wouldn't close that
Not
loop.
gonna, yeah, it's not gonna cover that question. that was brought up.
I can't speak to that. So over the last years since I've been here, we have not been monitoring or tracking the vaccinations. There was a time that we were.
Wasn't even.
Well, there was a time that we were, but it created like, oh, I don't have that. So Shani was calling all the vet clinics and the vet clinics
Oh.
finally were like, no, we're not, it's, you know, privacy, we're not gonna share that information. So it wasn't always, yeah. So that was one issue. Another issue I know is that a lot of people don't put, me personally, I never put my tag on my dog's collar. So, well, makes noise and their invisible fence collar does not have a loop to put it on. So I never did. So I agree with you, like, hey, optional licensing, but if you're not putting the tag on the dog, it does you no good. My dogs are all chipped. So I know
Like
that,
optional as a
So I
service.
think it's an optional. I think if you're choosing to go get that, you're probably.
right. The only other thing that I would see as being an issue is that we've already everybody that's called, that said, I didn't license my dog, we're not requiring it anymore. So
Right, we undid it last year.
We'll
We could
open it
we
up and say
can
this is
put
an
it as an
optional
option
thing.
for a service, yeah.
put it back out there as a service and just.
But just knowing that we're not gonna bill them, we're not gonna send any reminders, but they can,
I think the reason it was brought to us to.
It was
stop doing
staffing, it was staffing issues.
It was the administration.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was.
We were spending way more money.
Yes.
I
we wanted to keep optional, but
Yeah,
It's okay.
that one didn't happen, so.
right.
There's something else.
How are we in favor of bringing that back as an option?
Yeah, I'm okay with the optional service if it's not a burden for the admin staff.
And as an optional service, are you going to charge for that?
We should charge something to cover
But
our
it's,
costs.
I think you have to charge something because of the administration cost for one, for the time it takes to put in. Two, you're still getting a tag that costs money also, and whether that's $1 or $3, whatever it is for the tag. Marcy, you can answer to
Is
that.
that gonna save, by having those licenses, gonna save us money for us not having to run it to the humane society?
Absolutely.
Then I don't necessarily know if we have to charge for the actual service.
That's what I-
But there is administrative cost, so we do have to pay for those, we have to. pay.
That's what I'm saying, like the actual.
Somebody has to
What-
fill up.
I don't really charge it.
Charging 20, but for 10, like, when
Yeah.
I first moved here, it was 10.
I have no idea what these tags cost. That's the only thing I was
I
saying.
think Sean, you still got a whole ring of them prior to.
I think we
Why
did,
would
yeah.
charge some?
No, I think they were given away. I think they were.
Oh, I think.
Because I think they had a different, they put years on them.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know if we necessarily need to put years on.
Is would you be willing to look into, rather than doing it as an annual one, you buy a one-time tag?
Mhm.
There, because we can get tags without expiration dates on them.
That would be my.
You do a one-time tag, if you
One-time.
lose the tag, you have to come in and buy a new tag, but a one-time tag, you keep that on your dog, we'll keep it on record.
It's labeling.
So I think we can get by with that, a one-time tag, $10 covers our cost, covers our administrative cost, and then we can get the tag.
We've been pretty fortunate about getting dogs back. We've been really good about putting it on Facebook, putting them in a little jail in there.
Books.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like we have our little holding cell for them, for the puppies, we put pictures on Facebook and, but we've been over 100%, betting 100%. But if they have a tag on, we can read it, say, yep, it goes to their house. We bring it right to their house.
Of a perpetual thing. It's
Yeah.
just-
Where it's not
One
every
time.
year.
Keep in mind, it's $185 or $200 every time we have to bring a dog to the humane society.
On the tags, and then she'd have to change the tag number in spreadsheet, so if we just do it one time, here's your unexpiring tag, $10. Keep it, if
It's
you
really
lose it or it wears out,
An animal
buy-
ID is what it is.
Yes, it's an inline. Yeah.
So.
it's not about the revenue, it's about the service, and
You have to
you're
do
just covering our expense that one time.
something about it. If something happens to this dog and we replace said dog, you can't just put that tag on him.
I think we could, I think you just call us and we'll change.
Unique identifier.
I would say purchase a new one.
Yeah, unique
It's
identifier.
a different animal.
That dog.
I agree.
Yeah, because maybe I've got
And that breed.
Shipu and then I went. And then I went.
Roll with it, baby.
And not to go down this rabbit hole, I mean, yeah,
If
if
you're
you
down,
want
down,
to put
so
the
you don't
cats
get
all
to be
in
fine.
people's houses,
Correct.
make it animals
It is.
and not just dogs.
Animals.
If it just be animals, not just necessarily dog tags, but animal tags that can be for cats or.
As long as it can-
Or snakes or whatever they have, you know what I'm saying? If that's what they, you know what I'm saying? It's like, they're baby raccoons.
You have baby goats in the city?
Yeah, right.
Baby goats?
As long as
You
it
get my-
can be attached to the animal in the same manner as the dog to
Correct.
us, so.
So it could just be an animal.
Label 4 hens.
Yeah.
Six.
Six hens.
Yeah, we can get something written up
$10.
as far as that piece of it and put it in the ordinance and
John, you want to talk to me?
resolution and all that fun stuff.
All right, so I've got on our ordinance, clarify for the vicious animal portion of it, clarify the timeline and process of removal if an animal. And clarify the difference between potentially vicious and vicious.
Right.
And then outside of that, we want to explore what bringing the animal licensing service back would look like and present that to council. As an optional
Optional
service.
service, not a required service, yes.
With
At a one-time
Like a
tag
minimal
versus an
fee.
annual or
Yeah.
biannual.
Life with you.
We can do that.
I like it.
Good suggestion. Anything else? Ben? No? Okay. Well, I got nothing, so meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Marcy. This